I want to start this video off by saying this is for people who are obsessed with the meta and play by that rather than just getting characters you love. This is for people who play the gacha solely to get cards to fill their team slots and don't care about characters as long as they have the strongest team. I think any card can work for your team if you put in the work, and this is to help you better understand the card and put it in the right team for both you and that card. If you're watching this, I'm assuming you're already well versed in meta and gameplay, so I'm not going to explain basic gameplay stuff. If you're new and don't know mechanics yet, I have videos on that to fill in some gaps.
My husband is here, and most importantly, we now have all of the dorm uniform cards. Malleus is an attack unit with a max HP of 8,830, and his max attack is 7,439. He has the 9th highest attack in the game, so obviously above average, but with cards that have abnormally high attack, his HP is extremely low and drastically below average. His spell 1 is Zero Ray, and after some leveling up, it turns into Zero Ray 2. Yeah, he's one of those special SSRs that has a spell 1 that upgrades. His spell 2 is Void Shot 2 that later turns into Zero Ray 2. His spell 3 is Void Shot 2. This Malleus has only one skill, however, he is the only unit in the game with this skill, Crit Rate Boost. It's basically like he has a higher chance to do critical damage. At spell 1 level 5, he gains a modest crit rate boost to caster for 1 turn. Yeah, he doesn't start with it. It stays that way. It's the exact same case with his Void Shot 2. The spell 3 Void Shot 2. His dual magic partner is Lilia, who gives him a minor HP and power boost. His other buddies are Silver and Sebek, both with a minor HP boost. So let's talk about building Malleus. In order to groovy him, you'll need 5 Dragon Candy. It costs no Thou Marks, but you do need to get him to level 40 and finish all 3 parts of his vignette before you can groovy him. Each level uncap costs 3 SSR Awakening Perfume, so depending on how many Malmels you pull, it could cost you 0 to 12 perfumes. Like groovying, it doesn't cost any Thou Marks. So for books, he needs a lot of Void books, since Mono Void and everything. To max out every single spell, you'll need a total of 1,053 Void notepads, 759 Void textbooks, and 333 Void grimoires. Oh, and 954,000 Thou Marks. But yeah, he needs a lot of Void items. Each spell individually needs 351 Void notebooks, 253 Void textbooks, and 111 Void grimoires with a grand total of 318,000 Thou Marks. I'm still doing research on friendship levels, and so far all I got is 10 visits will get you to level 5, but that's 5 out of 20, so I don't know how many visits you need total to get to 20. Straight up, there's no dupe for this Malleus. I can't do a skill dupe for him since he's the only one with it, and Void Void is also a pretty rare combo. There's some options for units that could be replacements, but they have some big caveats. My suggestions for alternatives are Birthday Jacket Trey, Birthday Boy Kate, Striped Ribbon Grim, and Camp Vargas Leona. So, Trey has Zero Ray that turns into Zero Ray 2. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Literally every single other thing about him is different. I guess one thing is like, he does get a power boost which will make him stronger, but again, it's not the same as crit rate boost. If you specifically need a unit that has a spell 1 that hits twice, Trey would be a nice consideration. Kate, on the other hand, does have more things in common with Malleus than Trey does. Their attack, they have Zero Ray, they have Lilia as a dual magic partner, and that's it, although, like Trey, he's got a skill that makes him hit harder. Well, it actually increases damage, but like, we got something. If you need an attack unit with Lilia as a dual magic partner, Kate would be an okay option. Grim is the only other unit in the game that's mono void. His Void Shot turns to Zero Ray eventually after some building. He's also attack, but yeah, that's kind of it. He has power and damage boost, which makes him a little stronger. So yeah, that's something. For reals though, if you need mono void, Grim is literally your only option. And finally, we have Leona. He has a Void Spell 1 and Sebek as a buddy. That's literally it. He, like Kate, has a power boost so he can hit a little harder sometimes, but yeah. If you need a unit with a Void Spell and Sebek as a buddy, Leona would be a decent budget option. But again, frankly, even out of all these options, you're not going to get really close to, like, a dupe for Malleus. This Malleus is insanely strong, has the rarest skill in the game, and is within the top 10 strongest units in the game. The dev team knows how to treat my husband well by making him very strong and special, but on the other hand, Mono Void means he's outside of the advantages triangle, and it's like, I do think his crit rate alleviates a bit of that issue. I usually don't like Void because it has no advantage, but because Malleus has a crit rate boost attached to those spells, Although it's not an advantage, it's at least something that can help him hit harder. Malleus also needs quite a bit of building. I obviously think he can work without you having to touch his spell levels or anything, but because of that crit rate, not gonna lie, I feel like there's sort of a pressure to build it. At least that's how I felt. The crit rate feels like his main selling point. Normally I do try to build void spells to make them stronger, but because of that crit rate, I felt more hurried to try and get that unlocked as soon as possible. Not to mention, with him needing only void items, building him might be a bit slow depending on how many you have. I have this card over in JP, and to be honest, I only really use him in exams or extremely difficult battles. This isn't like Glorious Masquerade, where he's more of an all-rounder. This Malleus for me is more of a unit you use in specific circumstances. I mean, obviously you can make him work in any team, but personally, I find myself using his Masquerade card a lot more. I do love this card, and I'm gonna go for it on EN, but yeah. Although I would say this card is great in a lot of ways, I would also think about logistics and how you play the game, and not to mention he's gonna get added to the standard banner. Not that that stopped me from blowing all my gems on his banner in JP. And I'm probably gonna do it again in EN because I have no self-control. But anyways, some things to think about. If you do decide to go for Malleus, good luck.
Thank you everyone for watching, and a very special thank you to my channel members and Twitch subs. Your support helps me to continue to make these videos. If you'd like early access to my videos, consider becoming a channel member. Patrons and Ko-fi members can get my scripts early before I record them. I livestream over on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Thanks again guys, and I'll see y'all later.